So yeah, right. Hello, everybody. Oh, hello, Warrior Junior, Warrior Junior, Warrior Junior. Is that three times? I should say 5 times. 3 times? Should I say it 5 times? You know what that is? The 5 times. That's the Booker T. 5 times. Man, I have a picture when I met him at the Marriott. I remember at the bar. I got a picture of him. He's like his big hand. That guy. He put his hand on my shoulder. He put his hand on the cheese. I was just gonna find the picture. Hey, you know what? Let me see if I can find the picture. Hold on. We'll do a little. Whoops. I didn't moon anybody out there, did I? Let's see. Hold on a second. Uh, we'll find it. We'll find it. We'll find it here. Uh, hang in there. There it is. That back right there. Okay, this is a good one. I don't know, because I said 5 times, so try to show it. It was good. See the size of his hands? Jeez, the book man. Jeez, man, fuck. You know? Yeah. It's funny because I said, see the size of his hands, but I'll never forget my friend Pete. My friend Pete, we met John Cena in New York at WrestleMania 20. He said the same thing about John Cena when he met. He goes, "You see the size of that guy's hands?" Seeing his hands is like it's like pumped. It's amazing. There's no way he could get his hand in a Pringles can. No way. No way. Well, maybe the ones at the top. No fucking way. He can't get his hands huge. It's like if you it's amazing. It's like pumped and that's the thing. Like I'll get to the narrative in a second, the topic, but like I've always been fascinated, because I love bodybuilding and like entertainment. So like, how could you not like WWF, WWE? Just I've always been fascinated, and it's like you see. I remember when I first saw John Cena, like on TV, I said, "Oh, this guy looks pretty good size. How big can this guy be?" He's like, I got, and so I remember like, I work out too, so I figured, how big is it? No, 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 no. I remember the night before WrestleMania 21 at the House of Blues at the hold on, let me try to get rid of whatever's coming up on the screen here. This bullshit. Hang in there. Uh, they give me the news update for the day, which I don't give a fuck about. This is nonsense. Talks about the Taliban and fucking Afghanistan, all fucking nonsense and bullshit. Oh, good one. Okay, so the thing is, and don't worry on 9/11 on the not when I do my expose. Don't worry, we're gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you really what's up, and I don't care what you think. It's fucked up, but anyway, it's my friend Jeff. He talked about, oh, maybe we should have meddle with. He just doesn't fucking understand nothing. Meddle. I don't even see. I don't even want to start now with it. I don't even want to get into it because I know, like, I could just people are not going to be happy. Like when I just let it all go. So what was I talking about? Yeah. So I remember the night before WrestleMania 21. I was at the House of Blues on Sunset, and I don't live too far from there. It's not there anymore. But anyway, so I remember I got there. There was they do like a WrestleMania something press conference or whatever. John Cena was going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. So I remember I'm pumping up in my apartment. Want to look like pumped up when I get up there. So I did. I got there early and I snuck in through the front. I managed to get access to the foundation rooms and everything. So I didn't go in like a regular fan. I went in like I was somebody. And I remember like, so Cena comes up to me. Fuck. I was like 185. I have this shirt on that's like form fitting, and my arms are way bigger than this. And people are even telling me it's like, man, your arms like Big Papa Pump. They were telling me. I mean, that's a little not quite Big Papa Pump, but I was like very very solid for like 185. Um, for a 5'9", like bodybuilder. It's not bad. I mean, it was not bad at all, but not like Big Papa Pump though. But if you have great separation, you know, believe me, it's something. I started bodybuilding today again. Well, maybe should I say it? And that's what leads into the narrative. It's like, what do you do when you don't know what to do? Now, I have years and years and years of experience bodybuilding. Um, and when they say natural bodybuilding, I guess that's what it is. I've never shot steroids or taken any of the hardcore shit. I have supplementation. If it's over the counter, I kind of have an open mind to that. So, you just use your imagination. Um, you know, I really, when I was younger, I really fucking hammered the powders, and I wound up taking so much of it that I wound up having kidney stone surgery because, I was drinking so much milk. I wanted to get big so bad, and I made it to about 200 pounds. Now, if you got a real thin structure like this, and you're not, it was like just drinking tons and tons of milkshakes and eating and everything, that shit fucking adds up. It shit adds up, and I just wound up, with this incredible pain, and I had to go. There was kidney stones, and that shit wouldn't come out. I thought they would pass, but they wouldn't. They had to go in and blast them, and I never forget the pain that I was in for a month. It was awful. It was awful. So I basically walked away from bodybuilding at that point. And I was like, maybe I could just do the weights and eat regular food, So I was kind of doing that. But I don't know, like I just didn't know what to, I got kind of burnt out of it. And I was saying, what am I doing all this for? And so that leads me to the topic. It's like, what if you don't know what to do? What do you do when you don't know what to do? And I don't know, like I'm not here to offer any advice as far as what to do with your life because everybody's individual. But it's a hard, it's a hard, can be a hard thing to address because we have to take into consideration that we're not up against, but well, you could say you're up against time, but you know you don't want to look at it in a negative light. You want to say like this is the journey. Time is part of your time here on this planet, and without trying to get too philosophical or metaphysical, whatever they call that consciousness, um, things are going to change. You have to really understand that. Now, it seems to be really difficult. Like if you were an elite athlete, I wasn't in the Olympics or anything. I never made it to like, Major League Baseball or anything. So I don't consider myself like great. I don't. I just never made it. I tried, but I didn't have, what it took, what it takes. Um, it's all short lived, really. Well, I mean, there's some players, the major league players, they can play into their early, almost mid 40s. They made their money, and I mean, look at like A Rod, for example, and then they do commentating or something. But you see, a guy like that, how much money he made. I think that he needed that because it was kind of like a weathering down. I mean, can you imagine he had 696 home runs? Basically played professional baseball from like 17 to like 43, whatever, and he was closing in on his 700 home runs, like, and then they're going to pressure him to tie Babe Ruth at 714, 715. So possibly a shot at the home run record at the time, but he just couldn't do it. Like from myriad of factors. I think this was hip replacement surgeries and stuff. I don't know. And a questionable steroid, growth hormone, taking all that shit. So um, he just bowed out, like kind of just said fuck it because there's the Hall of Fame potentially, and just didn't want the heat because there was way too much heat coming down on all the players. McGuire, Sosa, all the guys, Clemens, and they call it the steroid. If you're knowledgeable about baseball, in '94 there was no World Series, so no real season, and so baseball kind of needed that. They needed a comeback, and McGwire made that '98. It was the most incredible thing I ever seen in my life. I have two bats. I have I need to get a PSA authenticated, but I have a '98 a gamer from McGwire, and I have a PSA authenticated. Um, it says '98, '99, I think, or '99, 2000 from Sammy Sosa, game used. So it's kind of weird that they couldn't pin down the exact year. I'm making, Sammy Sosa would tape up the knobs of his bat, so you could kind of take off that, to see what year exactly that bat is from. Um, it'd be cool if he hit home runs with it, but more than likely no, because anything of significance is accounted for. Um, that's why I know I don't get my hopes up with things. I have an A-Rod bat as well. It's interesting. I talk about him. I have his, which is on eBay right now. His with his authentication, Major League Baseball authentication, the bat that he hit his 599th home run with, um, which is of course close to the milestone of 600. That's, I think, the 600 bat sold through Golden Auctions for like 30 grand or something. So I couldn't afford that. I couldn't, but I got a good deal on the 599, so I bought it and almost sold it on eBay. I guess the guy who decided to buy something else, he offered me pretty fair money for it. So, but these things do happen. I'm sorry to get off topic, but I'm like passionate about a lot of things, so I try to keep things open. When I do this, kind of like a journal, but it's an open journal for because I like to share it. Yeah. So what to do? Let me get back to the narrative. So what to do when you don't know what to do? Oof, man, a real tough question. Um, depends. Like, look at what is your age. If you're younger, um, you could still, you could be more of the, if you were an athlete, you could try giving another go around. It ain't over yet. Um, I don't know, like if that's past you, what I did was I went back to school. Let's say you were in athletics, right? Go back to school, get your degrees. Why not? It's kind of cool to have. Unfortunately, like me, they really didn't lead anywhere to like big careers, but I got them as personal accomplishments. Kind of struggling with the doctorate level thing right now because either next week, either I will be a doctoral candidate or I'll be released from this school. And more than likely, I will be released, which would be the first student out of 200 not to pass the comp exams. I just hit my threshold with it. I majored in organizational leadership, and I really have no interest in that. Why did I major in it? Well, I hold an EDS degree, educational specialist in higher education admin, and the only reason I got that is because Liberty University is fairly easy to get accepted to and start in, and there's money involved, to go to school. So there's your answer. It pays for me to go to school, get my drift, and I like to keep that going. So what I did was Franklin University offered a fairly good deal to transfer in all the units I did. So I figured, all right, just jump into this. And the problem is you could start a program and then shit, professors and things, and you find out it's not really your cup of tea. Um, I'm one to kind of persevere. I will try to grind things through, but then there's some things that are just not practical. They're just not realistic. You gotta kind of be into it. Especially get to dissertation phase. You got to really be into it, or else you're gonna setting yourself up for difficulty. So, I'm looking for something I can handle more. I do a lot of research. I'm trying to find maybe a completion program, or maybe even start a doctorate in kinesiology or something. I seem to do well with the phys ed stuff. So, I get kind of deterred when I see it's like, fuck, dude, okay, I took 30 units for a specialist degree, which is doctoral level. So, and then I did another like 20 units of work at Franklin. And it's like, geez, I'm like almost there, kind of. But you don't even start a fucking over that they're just gonna maybe take a couple of my units. I mean, it's like, fuck, dude. It sucks. It sucks when you did a lot of work. But hey, you can't look at it like that. You just gotta say, all right, look, you know, I got this far with that, and you know, it's better to put in a little more time and get a degree in something you like than just to, try to take something because you think, oh, maybe it's less units or less credits, and it might be easier. It all depends. It all depends. I got these degrees as personal accomplishments, though. I wasn't banking on anything with it. Um, but I was saying to myself, well, maybe down the road, it'd be kind of cool, like, because man, you can be what am I going to be? Some guy standing up there 70 years old if I'm around dancing, it's nice, but, you gotta, I mean, how do I say this? You gotta be realistic, but you gotta, like, set yourself up for success, kind of, like, and I mean, I'm going to say this in the nicest way I can. I'm kind of knowledgeable in street dance, in the street dance industry, because I've been around for over 25 years doing this. And this one guy that I see on Hollywood Boulevard, he's OG. Like I remember him when this guy could really get down, but he's either got some serious health issues or like some weight related. I don't know what's going on with him, but he can't do. He's in his mid 50s, probably pushing, moving towards 60, and he just didn't do anything else. Like he didn't. I tried to give him some great advice. I was telling him, I was saying, man, why don't you take compilation? Because you got a lot of shit on YouTube, a lot of videos of stuff. Why don't you splice all that shit together, put it on a DVD, and then when people watch you dance, right? After it's like, you can buy a signed copy. I'll sign it to you. Take a picture with you for like $15. So you like, get market that shit. Like, become more of a salesman, of your body of work. He just doesn't get it. He just doesn't understand that. Thing. And standing out there on a corner doing this shit. I mean, that's all he's doing that shit for like 30 years. Man, no, he's OG. I mean, he's been around a long time, but man, what are you gonna do? Anyway, I wish him the best. I knew this one guy, Mr. Animation, God rest his soul. He got killed. He got hit by a car in Vegas. He's crossing the street. He's run over. He died at 50 years old. This guy was in impeccable condition. This guy was like a bodybuilder, like street performer, dancer. We did many contests together in the 90s. I would always finish behind him. He'd always, want to wave. He's always better than me, but he's always struggling financially. I remember, yeah, Vince Foster. He's a great guy, Mr. Animation. Yeah. I remember when Kerry did a tribute, the choreographer's carnival. I didn't know about it, but he brought all the poppers that were there up on stage to do a tribute to animation. And if I would have known, I definitely would have went. I definitely would have gone for that. Pop and John was there and everything. Mad Chad, everybody. New generation of guys, So let me get back to, because I talk a lot about my personal, shit that I did in my life, but kind of like hard on myself because I really did not achieve any type of major success. I used to really, really be super hard on myself toward achieving things, and I just try as you get older, you know, to be a little more practical and realistic. Um, Not to say not try hard, you know, but you know, you just got to understand that your time is finite. You know, you can't compare yourself to other people, which is very hard to do. You can't let other people criticize you and allow that to get under your skin. I mean, I got that all the time when I was bodybuilding. I was never like super huge or anything, but like I had some decent shape and size. You know, walk around. People like, yeah, you know, give me this. And like, fuck you, man. You know, like, and guys, the people say, yeah, steroids. It's, yeah, Brett, I was sworn I overheard him in an interview say something like, dude, you couldn't get to be like me, and no matter how many steroids you took, you know, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about, you know, and it's like I just don't want to engage people with any of this because, you know, they don't know the amount of dedication and work and everything. It's ridiculous. How hard you push yourself, not just in the gym, but you know the dedication of rest and recovery of food, supplementation. You know, like this regimented lifestyle, this Spartan like warrior thing. You know, like, and then if you're not competing, you're doing all this work, you're spending all this money and energy and time for what? You know, like it's and that's my point of the topic. If you don't know what to do, do something that's positive and challenging at least until you can figure out something better. And if you find something better, then go do that. But I'll tell you what not to do. Don't take the the um, the BS way out. And I'll tell you what that is. The bullshit way is the nothing way. It generally involves anything that's bad for you. Drinking, smoking, drugs, weed, any type of escapism, gambling, you know, the shit that's just, you know, toxic, that ain't gonna fucking wasting of any that ain't fucking get that ain't what is that getting you? At least if you're like a gym rat and you're spending good money on food, nutrition, supplementation, and you're working your ass off, at least you're doing something with your body that's productive and healthy. You know, getting strong, looking good, and confident. It's a good addiction. Okay, all the other shit that I talked about, drinking and hanging out in bars and wasting time and money and smoking weed and whatever, drugs, all that crap. That's all pollution, toxic crap. Playing cards in the casino. You're sitting there rotting away, man, hoping to make money. Hoping. Ain't happening, dude. You're losing. Okay? You ain't fucking winning nothing, man. I did all because everything that I mentioned, except the drugs and smoking, that's what I did. That's what I fucking did. I sat in bars all day, drinking beer, played cards for as long as I could, okay? You know what it got me? Fucking nothing. Nothing. I remember I didn't play cards for a year. And I had all the money and I invested it in myself. I didn't have it wasn't astronaut. It was a decent amount, you know, but I took it and bought all the supplements and the food I needed and I worked my ass off. Let me tell you, a year later, I was. Let me tell you, so I walk around and people like look at him like, Jesus, you know, look at the shape this guy is in. That's right, baby. Yeah, because I know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't go to the gym to waste time. I'm not there on the phone. I'm there to fucking work. And it shows. And it shows very quickly in whatever I do because I get into it and I am very focused and very determined today in the morning, there was a, I never think I've ever seen this chick before, but it's an area that I work out in. They have an AstroTurf thing, and I had to look, I had to see. She was not bad. She was not bad. Um, but I just, I'm so focused on what I'm doing, dude, that I was kind of surprised that I didn't try to start a conversation with her because it was not bad. She was just about a qualifier. She was on the cusp of greatness, and I just didn't want to come off like every other guy, like so. I don't know if I did an episode about this, but it can be very difficult because I want to like show I'm interested, but then I don't want to convey lower needy social status, and it's so easy to do that. When you're trying, usually want them to come to you. You don't want to be like the beggar, put them up on the pedestal. Oh, you're so beautiful and this and that. You know, I have good taste. I guarantee what I look at, everybody else looks at, and they try to hit on her too. And I just didn't want to. I wanted to feel like, hey, man, I'm training for something, and there's something that separates me from every other fucking guy out there. And I wasn't trying to show her that. Maybe I was, but what I try to do is I try to just work my ass off in general. For me, you're doing all this work for hopefully for somebody else. You know, you're not. You're kind of doing it. You're doing it for the wrong reasons, and that just doesn't sustain itself. You want to like do things for yourself, and it's really hard because bodybuilding and like what I do, like with the fighting, boxing, and kicking. Oh my god, like all this shit that I do. I harbor these delusions that maybe I could somehow get an agent, maybe Hollywood. I could do something with it. Um, I told you this. I wanted to be like a wrestler. And I see these guys that are like, I'm looking, they're smaller than me, and I'm like, looking at this, and I go, I hate to, I hate to burst your bubble, but dude, I mean, I've seen like what the top draws on WWE, like what got, and these guys they look like they're like 135, 140 pounds. What are you doing? Like, I mean, I can admit, like at my peak, I could show you pictures. I was about close to 200, but solid. And even at that, like I told you, like I saw these guys, come on, man. It's like Big Papa Pump, that's 6 something, 275, or did Brock Lesnar, 265, 280, no man, back then, 295, whatever like that. When those guys pump up, forget about it, Goldberg, and that's the fucking problem is that, I mean, I don't know. I've always believed, well, stick kind of like try to stick with what you're good at or something you must be very, very passionate about. But you got to be a little realistic about time, and things that you know, I just, I hate when people tell me, well, why don't you become a personal trainer? Because you know what? That is a very what I call like it's so watered down. Those people don't make any real money, and sit there and try to show somebody how to do an exercise, and I say, look, man, I got to make mine, man. I mean, if I was like rich or something like that already, then I wouldn't mind giving back or helping somebody. But I ain't got, I ain't gonna fucking waste my time showing somebody how to do a rope pull down or a squat or anything. Like that ain't gonna fucking make me any real money. I'd rather, not do anything. It's like a choice. Oh, you could either make like $50 here or there, or like or not make nothing. And I said I'd rather make nothing then. I'd rather make nothing, you know. You know, I got to see like something real for real. And if it's not, then I just don't care. It takes fucking real money to move ahead, you know. Sorry, I had a good dinner, you know. I eat what when I'm bodybuilding and training really hard, I spending on food and I I go big, you know. That's what it is, and spend quite a bit. Good quality food ain't cheap, and you know what's it gonna get you? You know, so you walk around, you'll be like big, you know. Whoa, you know. Look, it's like nothing. Doesn't even, you know. So I like weighed myself. I was like 160, you know. And I was like, what? You know, it's it's nothing. You know, I mean, well, it's nothing, but you know, it's so hard, you know, to build a body if you're doing it the right. What I did over the years, you know, I have years of training logs of what I know what to do. You know, I mean, it's like automatic for me. But what's it gonna get you? You know, like sometimes I think about that. So until I figure out something I can do better, then I'm just gonna do that. You know, I'm just gonna get myself in beyond first class. See if it you know can open any door for me this time. It didn't before, but I didn't really. I was a little younger, you know, so kind of hoping I can find carve out some niche over the next couple of years where you can use whatever you know your talents, your gifts to solidify first your financial future because I think that that's so important. You know, important to have money because I know money is not everything, but you know it's incredibly important to have that thing out of the way so you can focus on whatever passions that you have and not so needy and desperate. You know, you know, like I said, it conveys a lower social status, and that is the kiss of death. When a woman sees that, they run. You know, you have no chance. You know, it's like you got to be like everything. But you know, I think about that. Like when I'm in the gym, I say to myself, "All right, so I'm working on my thing. I'm working on my martial arts skills. I'm working all different ones, and then I'm doing calisthenics, and I'm doing fucking, you know, bodybuilding kind of exercise. Jesus, you know, I'm like tearing myself apart in there. But I just said, you know, maybe I could just be like somebody that's got these talents. Maybe there's something to go with it when you've got multi talented. You know, for me, that's all I did was kind of dance, street dance. You know, and it was, you know, I got you know featured on a couple of TV shows when I was like 30, 29, 30, 31, but that was it. It didn't lead anywhere. I stayed with it, but that's all it led to some compliments from older people. It didn't lead anywhere. Didn't go anywhere. So I noticed though when I'm doing my you know training, my bodybuilding, and my martial arts, it does strengthen the dancing. It is amazing because you know when you're doing you know movements, utilizing all your body's components, you know, in martial arts and different kind of you know things that I do, Wing Chun and everything, stretching. And I went out dancing and I was like, holy shit, I felt so much more fluid, you know, and solid. Bodybuilding muscles get stronger, so your hits, your pops get solid. You know, your control is like way better. Like when you're lots of things, your flow. It's like, wow, this guy knew flex that he's like really talented. And now I know why. because of his arsenal, his range of mobility and flexibility through like gymnastics moves, martial arts and stuff, strengthened his dancing. But he started when he was very, very young. So, he's like a real machine, you know. Oh man, I tell you, getting older. But so I hope that you can take away from this episode my experience, which you know doesn't count for too much, but you know, try to say, all right, try to think about, you're an artist, any type of artist, that's one of the hardest things. I'm not saying don't do, but it's like, you know, just feel like you should have like something to go along with it. Done. It was kind of, it was easy, kind of, to go to school online and still do. And I know I've heard the narrative of people say, well, it takes so much to become so great at this thing. I got to put in 12 hours a day. I don't have time to go to school. I don't. Well, let me tell you something, man. Whatever hobby you're doing for 12 hours a day, if you're doing that much time, then I got news for you. More than likely, you're wasting your time. I know this kid put his whole life into chess, his whole fucking life. He's a grandmaster. He's 17 years old. He's a grandmaster, but they're not going to guarantee you nothing. So if you're putting in so many hours into something that is really going to lead nowhere, I urge you to stop, take a step back, and go, whoa, 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 whoa. Dude, I am dedicating way too much, even though I'm passionate about this. But more than likely, this is a road that there's no gold at the end. There's no gold at the end. And I'm not asking you to stop going down that road, but it's good to kind of like, I would pick up a degree in art just to have it, along with if you're an artist, whatever, depending, because artists can be anything, But my point is the more shit that you have under your belt, then it's like the more powerful you are. Just like I said, like on the martial arts with bodybuilding and bodybuilding with my dancing, then going for the doctorate degree. And then, I know, so, well, don't spread yourself too thin. Well, here's what I do. Like, I have like a handful of these things that I do. And, if something picks up, then I put more energy into that. You just don't want to be like guy that I talked about. That's all he stands there on the corner, falling apart. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do anything else. That ain't it. Why do you watch on YouTube for free? The bigger, stronger, faster. Some dude lives in his van. He thinks he's delusional. He thinks he's like the strongest guy in Gold's Gym, or he's nothing. He's a clown. Never was a competitive bodybuilder or anything. Homeless. He's crazy. And that's the problem. It's like people, they have like, that guy, he's got like brain issues. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him, but you if you're young, maybe it doesn't hit you yet, But when those years start to add up and you got nothing to show for it, I mean, man, you don't want to be like at a point where you're fucked. And I remember I was on Soul Train. I remember this one guy on the show, like he's a decent dancer. We were talking. He goes, "Yeah, I'm working on becoming a lawyer." He told me, "Yeah, yeah, you know." kind of like good to have shit going on. You know, that I remember, like, I almost went in the Air Force at 25. I was this close. I took the ASVAB, the recruiter said, all right, we'll bring you in as an E2, I think, or E3. E2, I think they offered me. I was, nah. But I went through things, I jumped through the hoops anyway. And it came down to the thing, well, you know, now you go to the MEPS, Military Entrance Processing Station. And that's where I thought about it. I said, I'm a dancer. I ain't no fucking, you know, they're going to have me for 4 years in here. And I just chose not to. Credit, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't know. I was also in Air Force ROTC very briefly, but they couldn't guarantee me commission, so I dropped out. I kind of regret because maybe if I had stayed in that, maybe I could have commissioned as an Air Force officer with a bachelor degree. But I didn't get my bachelor's till I was 41 anyway, so it's kind of too late for a lot of things. I already told you about my National Guard story that I wanted to commission, but they dropped the enlistment age and it was already too late. So didn't do, but I did stick it out with school. And at least you get those degrees. You know, that's kind of something. I mean, I remember I just wanted associates, and I got into general studies. What are you going to do with it? At the time, it was just a personal accomplishment. It was really cool to walk to graduation stage at Greek Theater, LACC. It was cool at the time. And I struggled to get my bachelor's. I really, really had a hard time. I was bouncing around from Cal States to Cal States. I finally found a program I could handle. I wanted getting my bachelor's in general studies from National University, and you know, it was like another degrees and everything. You know, it's yeah, yeah. Well, I hope that you can get the takeaway from this is like, you know, the easy way out is the toxic stuff. I know. Anyway. Excuse me. I hope you came away with something from this episode or this journal. Warrior Junior will keep fighting for you. And I do regret not talking to that chick, kind of, but I did not want to come off. It is that fine line, you know. Okay. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will address more stuff in the upcoming episodes. Have a good evening. Maybe I'll get back on later. Maybe I won't.